art is not just for money. Art is expression, passion, emotion. Art brings people peace. I mean, it can do a lot of things to us, and I think that's what we should really focus on is the arts itself, not just the monetization of the arts, because that's just, you can't take it with you, right? You know?
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the TF Cast. I'm your host, Willis Stout.
Hey there, Grum here. It is July 5th, and we are here at 108 Alchemy.
And I am your host, Jacob Bases. Stay with us. We have owners, Alex and Justin, to talk about their experience with the store and give us some news. Alex, Justin, if you could just pop in and let us know what's going on here at the storefront and how you doing.
We're pretty good. I'm Justin.
I'm Alex.
And we're here today to tell you guys about some changes that we're going to be experiencing together along with the makers and just our families. We've decided that the store is going to be closing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but yeah, we just kind of came to that pass in the road here. Where
You can totally see you just... It looks like there's like a grudge ghost going across. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, they're closing.
Yeah, that's okay.
So yeah, we're closing, but we're not closing our efforts for the community. That's not something we're closing. We're just closing the shop down. We have plenty of other things that we do in this community that we think I think with the time we have now, we're going to be able to benefit other people more so in a larger scale. Whereas this was it was a trial, you know, we wanted to see what we could do for the community and we wanted to see if it would work. And well, it turns out it didn't really work as well as we had planned.
Well, we didn't plan very much. We had a couple of opportunities that felt like a perfect storm that we kind of seized because it was a good opportunity. Yeah. We had the people that were with us behind us to fill the store with art.
Yeah. The people were there.
Yeah, the people were there.
The problem is we're both wild cards. Like, we can't both be wild cards. That's kind of what happened.
We got an accountant.
Yeah, we got an accountant. The best thing that we did was getting an accountant. But, you know, accountant can't make us money.
I think in part two, we want to celebrate the success that it was, because for a lot of people, this kind of like gave them a really awesome spot to show their work and really connected them with a new art community and gave people a spot to go visit. So we want to definitely celebrate that as like a win. And I think we'll try and like talk a little bit about maybe some takeaways, you know, some things, lessons learned from the experience as well too. But is there anything right off the top that you want to say to, like, you know, some of the creators and artists that you met and made it possible?
Like you said, it was a win. Like, having this place was a win, I think, in terms of the art community of Mankato, because it did show people that there is room for something like this. And, you know, in the future, I would suggest that the person who opens an art shop like this maybe charges more commission for the artist, because, you know, unless you are having them do much more work, that low of commission that we gave our artists, you know, having that low, we did 25%. 25% is really low for a commission in pretty much anywhere. And that was to help the artists out. We wanted to do that to help people out. And the artists that we do have there, I mean, there's so many great people here. There's so many amazing artists in this town that we got to meet and we got to collaborate with. We got to teach people about different arts here. I mean, we did a lot of really cool things that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, so how about, because there is still, if you're just seeing this in the first week, you still have a chance to come and like buy some of this stuff first thing. But for someone who doesn't know what 108 Alchemy was, tell them what this shop was about and kind of like what the values you brought to the business were. I mean, I know you talked about the commission a little bit, but like when you started this, what were the conversations and ideals you had like?
We wanted to take the limited opportunities that artists and crafters, makers have at art fairs and stuff like that, which are few and far between, and they've become more saturated over time as passed. But to make an all the time sales gallery for artists to have their work represented in our community. A space where people could teach their art, a space where artists could meet and create products or artworks together. So that's been one of the most rewarding things, is watching artists meet each other here, take a class from each other, and then create something moving forward together and continue a bond.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The fact that we had so many artists meet each other, so many people have worked together from working together in this shop. Like we have had several artists, bring stuff into our store, and then while they're bringing stuff into the store, they meet another one of the artists who's bringing stuff in the shop, and then they work together, either finding the materials, working together to do work to collaborations, and it was really cool to see those things being born in our store.
Yeah, and one of my fondest memories for a long time is going to be when you guys let SFU play our first show in here. I got video of it and I watch it all the time. It's like one of the fondest memories. And we even had like basically that exact experience. We had someone find us and book us through that while we had people just did a lot of networking that day. And that wasn't even the plan. It was just to have a intimate show in your back room here.
I love to hear that, because that was our goal, is to make it so that this community of artists, music artists, visual artists, have the ability to show their work to the community, because not everybody has Facebook or Instagram, and I know it's easier to just go into a store for some people than to look at somebody's products online.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have that vibe here. We wanted to have not Etsy vibes, but
some people's work just doesn't look like, when I look at, for example, those pieces in the window, I could see that on Instagram all day, and I would probably never think to buy that. Like, some things are just, they don't present well there. And also, to your point about the community, is, we've on this podcast made an effort to study this art community for the last about 3 years now. And I can just look in my field of view here and I can see a dozen artists whose work I recognize, but that's not even half of the work.
It started as a local Mankato thing, and it quickly became a regional thing that artists were learning about us and coming here. Our authors, so it's almost an indie bookshop. It's a music venue.
It's a classroom.
And it's a need that is no longer going to be here, but there are some other things that are like it, and hopefully they kind of see that there's a vacuum now and they can kind of try to do some of the things that we were doing.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope somebody takes what we did and does something with it, because it's here. The ability to do this is here. And I really hope that it's something that happens again, but is still accessible to artists, local artists, because I don't want to see it turn into a money-making machine, because that's not what this is. This isn't for money. This is for support and community.
And it was, I guess, to the people who would be carrying the torch forward, what needs of the community did you feel like were being answered by this location? And what type of information would you like to give someone who was looking to do something like this?
Well, one thing that we recognized quickly was that this was a safe space for neurodivergent people, people of the LGBTQIA+ community. It just felt like a safe space where people could come see some cool stuff, and you didn't have to spend money. It was just something that people can just be here and have a conversation with somebody that is hosting them and providing them a space that they actually feel is pretty cool to them.
I think another thing that we brought to the table that I really hope comes with the next place like this is charisma. I think that my brother and I brought a lot of charisma to this arts community here, and I hope the next person brings that same charisma, energy that this needs.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, and you both have very like different styles and different like parts of the community you're part of. So it's really a powerful duo to do something like this. I don't even think I could think of someone that would be in the same unique position as you guys. So yeah, and thank you for doing it as long as you did.
In many ways, well, I don't know if you're comfortable with me discussing this, but my brother was in the Army for quite a while, and he moved away from our community for 8 years. And so I just didn't really have a relationship for a long time with him. So when he moved back here, it was kind of rocky reconnecting after he was a combat veteran and stuff like that. So in a lot of ways, we kind of climbed this summit of kind of building our family relations back. You know, just our father. We had some estranged relationships within our family. So it's been a great space for us to reconvene in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this was kind of bringing that rekindling of our family dynamic back together, and kind of came to a head for this shop. I think we kind of came together as a family, and not that we haven't. We've definitely worked together really well and done some cool stuff, but you know, with any family,
that has several businesses together.
I mean, we work so damn much that it makes it hard. Well, most of our family get-togethers are business conversations, you know? So, like that's how it is. Like that's how we grew up in business. So
a lot of our decision is motivated by sort of reclaiming that time that we have just been giving a lot for years of just giving. And so we look at what we have on our plates, and we say we loved the impact that we were able to create here, and we will continue to make an impact. But having a store was a great way to kind of bring some things together. We were able to form the art crawl, the Mankato art crawl, which we have a plan to kind of have a succession.
It was so fun.
A plan for succession, so that will continue. And then, like I said, some of the acts and stuff that we have, those people are looking for homes to do their classes and stuff like that. So kind of finding places for people to go to.
So that's one thing. Yeah, that's definitely something where we want to find a home for these artists when we are done here. We want to make sure that they have somewhere to take their products and sell their products locally. And there isn't very many options right now.
So could we, are you thinking the brand of 108 Alchemy as a whole might kind of continue in some form? It just won't be like a physical shop?
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We've talked about just having a website.
Yeah.
And just running just a website and just having people's products on our website.
And then like they do self-fulfillment kind of thing.
And self-fulfill.
Yeah. So then you wouldn't even have to have like a warehouse space or anything.
Yeah, right.
That's a pretty cool idea.
We were thinking about doing that. And I think that's still something that we, consider. That's not something that's totally off the table, but we want to come to a place where we're ready to work hard on this again.
Yeah.
And put our full energy into it, because as of right now, both Justin and I work he works here. We both work here. We both work at Bellissimo. We both have our own small businesses like for art and whatnot that we do. He has children. There's not a lot of time. We don't have time.
Yeah.
And we've kind of just realized how little time we have and how little energy we have left. And we don't want that to be how we move forward in working for the community. We don't want to have that low energy to work with people. We want to be energetic. We want to give people 150% of what we have.
Yeah.
And if we can't, we don't want to do it.
Yeah. We know we're not there right now.
Yeah, you can't put in 100% if you're not at 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And
I just joined the Prairie Lakes Regional Art Council board.
Yeah.
I'm on the City Center Partnership board and the City Art Committee. I don't know if they call it a board, but we decide the sculptures and stuff.
Yeah.
So I look at what's on my plate, and I just know I don't have the capacity to give what we gave when we started.
Yeah.
And we formed a good community that is doing things together out in the community now. So I feel great about that. But there's our periods where I'm here, and I know I have committed to to helping 5 nonprofits do things that I should be there. I should be helping them. And that's what I care about. That's where my heart is telling me to get the store closed and go to do what you're supposed to be doing.
I mean, I know me personally, there's been several opportunities to do things in the community, like volunteering, doing art for the community, volunteering, just in general, that I think we are used to doing and we've been doing for so long, and we haven't really done it for a whole year now. Yeah. We haven't done any of that kind of stuff that we are just so proud of doing and love doing and working with people, and we didn't get to do that for the last year. That's 2 summers in a row that we haven't been able to work with people as much as we want to.
Are you still doing the River Valley Makers as well?
Yeah. I'm the president of that. I founded that too.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And then I'm also on the Mankato Revitalization project. On the board for that too. We're both on a bunch of boards. We're both on doing a bunch of jobs.
Projects that
and the Day of the Dead Festival is growing,
and
that's becoming its own nonprofit that will continue work year round in Latino communities. So I look at what it's important to me personally. I had a conversation with my brother. What's important to him? This is important work for us, but I need to put my kids and myself first.
Love it. Maybe we could take a second to talk about a little bit of your solo art pursuits, because I'm guessing that's a big part of why you even started thinking about opening this place.
I think we are both artists. We both started selling our art. It was like 8 or 9 years ago. The first time we sold art together, we did it vending, and we called our business Alchemy. That's why I went away at Alchemy.
Oh, cool.
So we started, selling our own art like that, like canvas art and different types of style.
It was a lot worse back then.
It was worse back then. I'm not gonna lie. We were worse painters then. Yeah. But that's really something that I feel like I lost. I feel like I lost my drive to want to do art. In being around all these artists all the time, I was like, it's like FOMO almost. Like I was like missing out on these opportunities to paint and the drive to want to paint, because it was just so oversaturated in my head to be around, and I was burnt out on art. And then I finally hit this when we had this conversation about closing the shop. That's when my inspiration came back. I'm not gonna lie. Like my inspiration to start painting again, blew up as soon as we were like, we need to close the shop. Yeah. And then I was like, all of a sudden I've done 5 paintings in a week, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I have it back again, and I'm motivated to paint again, and I want to work on that.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of different. I feel like I never stopped that drive that I had artistically to just continue to work and produce works in different mediums. And it was not able to fully commit to this, even though we were putting tremendous effort here, not committing in ways that I can see a future here, because what my future, I believe, is my artworks. And so that won't change. And it's kind of shown that I don't have the capacity to do this.
I'm sure too, it may be interesting to get into. This has had some, probably given your artwork some exposure, having a storefront too. Are there any benefits that you really saw in managing a shop with artwork and having people come through? And then how do you think about, as an artist, how do you think about trying to maintain that going forward in a more...
Yeah, so when you vend, that's just you. That's all completely you.
Yeah.
But when you do it here, I tended to have the tendency to put my artwork in the back seat. So though I was creating a large body of work, it was... I felt like I was so excited to meet new artists and see their work and display their works that's what was sitting out, with the exception of a large piece that I have nowhere else for it to go. But it was so exciting to explore and study other people's artwork, and so that kind of took the front seat and more. So
for both of our small businesses kind of took the back seat to this place and trying to sell art for other people.
Yeah.
And then like last month, I eventually told my brothers, no, we need to put our own art out here. We need to start selling our own stuff. So I just took the time and I made it our own displays, because We were just putting our own work in the backseat of everybody else's, and we wanted to work for everybody else, but we were still working for ourselves.
And you had
we
to
forgot
be
that.
like you're like gallery curators, but needing to keep your own projects alive.
Yeah.
It's tough to wear both those hats,
And no matter what, I mean, we didn't want to be like the people who just put our out.
Yeah.
You know what I
You don't
mean?
need a personal
we didn't
gallery.
want to do that. We wanted to share other people's art, but we needed to share our own. And we didn't do that for so long. And
basically everything that the store profited, it was just break-even status with the store. So even when we were selling our own stuff, it was just feeding the store. So in a lot of ways, we were doing a disservice to ourselves as artists to just fund the store through our art, you know?
One of the things that I think is really interesting about how the arts work is in this experience, like both Triple Falls and 108 Alchemy, we're for-profit businesses that operate heavily in the arts sector, and like sometimes you're constantly being compared to like nonprofits or like groups or committees or just people who are out here doing good things, and like those things are able to operate in some ways, but it is also important to have businesses that perform some of those functions because that's the way our society works. But when it comes to the arts, you have to make a large deal of the kind of things that you're explaining right now. These, like, in order to run an ethical business, you basically have to take a great deal of sacrifice, like at all.
Personal
and then
sacrifice,
and that's what it's going to be, because you can just do the least or go for like the most cash grab option or like whatever. And like that's why it's so important to like differentiate, what is and is not those things, and then really look into like the ethics of where you spend your money when you're a consumer in the arts, just in any way, because it matters. And there's a chance that the next people who open up a gallery won't care about artists as much, or maybe they'll care more and they'll just be big pocket investors. But it is, my entire point is that you have to like pay attention to how these things come together, the people and the ethics behind the businesses. And that's why I think that these stories are important, because it is just kind of like knowing your neighbor and how these arts communities work.
I mean, we're not opposed to like an angel investor. If somebody came and gave us a bunch
definitely
of money right now, we
invest.
would still do this. We would keep doing this stuff for the community. We would totally
we're
do
open
this.
till the end of July. So anytime from now until
29th.
then,
Anyone has one of those cash hurricane machines.
Yeah. If somebody would have brought one of those into the shop one day,
See, I'm unwilling to do that. So that's where we're at.
I will do anything.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I don't. I will do that for
I'll hop
us.
right in there as well.
I'll sacrifice for us, Justin.
Yeah.
all right. Well, get the machine going, I guess, guys.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like we did think about that though. Like should we get a business loan to keep this machine going for a little bit longer? But then we would have just had to pay a loan off. And I feel like if we would have done that, we still would have eventually come to this decision. And I'm really glad we decided not to do that.
Yeah, we're not in any sense of ruin right now.
No,
so it's
we're
a good
good.
place to be
You know
like,
what I
you
mean?
know what, I'm going to cash out and I'm glad that we had an impact, and
Yes.
hopefully people can see that it's definitely a need.
Hopefully there's some ripple effects here.
Yeah, ripple.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think we did a great job. I think we did some awesome stuff. And I think that a lot of people see that.
Yeah.
And we're trying to convince ourselves of this, a little bit, that we did a really good job, that we did make an impact. That's what we hope.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Jacob was saying like what it takes to run basically an ethical business, that you're still a for-profit business that does something like that. I think people felt good about spending their money here. Like people felt good that it was going both to artists and to people who cared for the arts, like that it was really trying to make this dream happen.
I don't think I
that's
brought
powerful.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think I brought a single person in here that their first reaction wasn't something to the effect of, how have I not known about this? How have I not been already shopping here? Me and Ark don't have a single person. We have quite a few guests stay at our house, and every time it's like, we're bringing you here.
Yeah. we
appreciate people like you for that, because we loved the connections that we felt. One thing that I have loved about this space is that I am a workaholic.
Yeah.
So this space was a place to slow down a little bit and actually make some friendships. So that's been
Heck
kind of
yeah.
a great takeaway, is slowing down and just kind of like just being present and actually being able to connect with some new people.
It's crazy to me that you have the schedule you have, but you're also simultaneously like the highest output artist that I personally know. And then on top of that, you have like an awesome TikTok presence, and
It all kind of goes together.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it just fits, you know.
yeah, I've always been crazy impressed by that.
What was the foot traffic in here like?
We're not closing because of sales, you know. So we had Saturdays were always a busy day for us. It's always like, oh, how do you know what is a good sales day? Really, you have to talk to your neighbors who are running businesses.
We did.
and by all accounts, we were running.
We were
up
right
there.
on par with everybody
not
else in this
just on
neighborhood.
par, but above some of the other sales that people were seeing. There were definitely some dead times that make you question, am I doing something wrong? When you're first year of business, you're like, what am I, what, you know, but the foot traffic was decent. We did see a little bit, and this might be just our observational perspective, that the road kind of stuff has seemed to like slow traffic down, foot traffic down here a little bit. And that's one of the maybe the anxieties that we have, is that road construction is coming to Riverfront Drive in Old Town, and that it might kind of take a busy season for us and make it bad. So we're just trying to get ahead of that a little bit and anticipate what the future problems might be for the store.
Yeah, and also the economy's in the gutter right now, so that's probably not.
Yeah, this is a luxury goods
This
shop.
is a luxury goods shop. It is. This is a want store,
Yeah.
and I think that we really do need to look towards the future when we're thinking about our families, and it's really important for us to take care of ourselves, especially with the way that the finances in this country have been going recently. It is concerning, to say the least.
How do you foresee the future of Old Town, having ran businesses down here? Like, what do you think's going on down here?
I think a lot of stuff changes down here. I think there's the pillars that are always kind of here, like Mom and Pops and Wine Cafe and Coffee Egg. They're all those places that I don't think are going to be affected as much as that road stuff and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of momentum, most definitely. Once that infrastructure is in place, I think it's going to be definitely a destination, more so than it already is. But, you know, there's some things that are probably people will take time to adjust to.
Yeah, like an adoption period. I think that they did a little bit of a disservice by just kind of like painting the road and like asking people to imagine like if there was like planters and nice things. For you. Like just imagine you weren't inconvenienced right now and that you really were having a good time. Like
that's kind of exactly what it was.
People stuck in traffic do not have that kind of charity.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard. The retail space has kind of become a thing of the past in a way. So many people shop online nowadays, and it's not just Amazon. You know, a lot of people buy from that, but I mean, you can buy from makers online now. You know what I mean? It makes it a lot easier, and then when people buy online and they buy from a maker, I mean, I guess that makes them feel nice and feel good. Like, oh, I bought from a maker. I feel good about that.
I like buying stuff from Instagram. Sometimes I just see something I like, and then I'll click through. There's an Etsy shop.
Yeah,
I've done that. You know,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the way our society has kind of come to be. That's just that's the norm. The norm is to buy online.
Yeah, the
that's
norm
normal.
is to be shopping.
Yeah,
I think
it is. We're very consumerist.
One of the
country.
things that speaks to that is that we wanted to more so be somewhere that people like to visit.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're spending money, we just like to be a cool place that was like kind of like an artwork itself to just come here and have something free to do, which maybe we shouldn't have catered to the free crowd, and maybe we should have like, I don't know, but
maybe we should have charged for entrance and
I don't know about that, but,
But we did have those people that came. I mean, I'd say 80% of the people that walked through our door were like, wow, what is this place?
Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah. So, we know we did something right.
Yeah.
You know, we definitely did something right here.
Yeah.
just, we're just not millionaires who can just
you
piddle around all day
just
long.
Fund a shop to exist because you want it to.
Yeah, right.
You have to.
So we know
You should
we did
start
something
with
cool.
financing.
Yeah, you should start with a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
A lot.
First step, get rich.
Yeah.
Second step, consider opening a small art gallery.
Yeah. So, I mean, the opportunity to make this happen here in this town is still here.
Yeah.
And there's people that I really can see doing this. And
Well, what
Succeeding.
what all do we want to get into? Are there any other parts of this that we want to explore for either posterity or because we're curious? I think like we talked a little bit about how the space, like retail, is experiencing some sort of a decline, and you did some events and like some classes as a way to sort of, I don't know. I think that's a great way for shops to keep people engaged and coming back, having fun.
You
stuff
most
like
definitely
that.
have to build a bond with the customer and give them something that they will remember.
Yeah.
For us, a lot of times the higher ticketed art pieces, it would be like 4 times somebody would visit a $1,000 plus painting and they would buy it.
yeah.
So it was something that just was like they would continue to come just to visit that thing that they wanted. And so, and it was not just because of that artwork, it was because it was something that they formed a connection at that time. And,
Yeah.
and you have to diversify. So the classes, you can't just be a store and just with entitlement expect people to just come in and spend their hard-earned money on your store.
Yeah.
You have to give them value in
Yeah.
what they're doing. So classes and just different offerings that go beyond just a sale, because there's a lot of things that are very cheap that people can access.
I think that the art that we had in here, we're selling a piece of the artist whenever we sold a piece of work. So we took it upon ourselves to sell a piece of ourselves every time we sold a piece of that art. We wanted to connect with these people to sell other people's art. So we took a piece of ourselves and put it into that sale because we were proud of these artists. We're still proud of all these artists. There's so many awesome artists that we are just so proud of and that we take pride in selling that stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was really cool, my partner, past guest, Ark, who sells their artwork here. Well, first of all, besides vending, this was like the number one place she would get sales from. I don't know if that's true for other people that are here, but I always thought that was really cool that this was the number one place. And then I forgot what I was going to say before that. What did you just say?
Oh, I was talking about the pride that we take in selling the art.
Oh, yeah. So one thing that was really interesting, I came in when she first asked to sell her artwork here, and Justin was here, and I thought it was really cool. You didn't once ask her about the body of work, what her prices looked like, how long she had been doing it, nothing. All you did was like ask her like, what is she into? How does she connect emotionally to her work? None of the questions were like monetary or like the questions if you like submitted your pieces to a gallery, the questions you would get. It was all just like, are you cool? And is your intention something I want to support kind of thing? And that was really profound to me, honestly.
So I think that we took a different approach with multiple artists, though. So that was a way that we would approach some artists, and other artists we would approach them through the eyes of a monetary seller, because there were a lot of artists that didn't know how to sell any of their product. So that's what we were also here doing, like being like, hey, you should sell this product for this much because that's what it's worth.
No.
Because that's what you're worth. You have this worth and you should sell it for what it's worth.
When we go to vending things, that's like the biggest note I almost take away. So many people's stuff is too cheap. You didn't even pay yourself for wages, let alone the supplies
and what's
to
the
make
point
this.
of that? You know? And that's kind of where we're at, is what's the point of creating art to sell it, to support a store, you know what I mean? I need a way to finance that so I can happily and ethically create my own artwork, you know? But like back to what you were saying about Ark and just how people come in here. As an artist, I come at somebody the way I would want to be come at. You know, I don't want an elitist filter to block me, especially an artist of color, from gaining access to an art space or a representation.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That was one thing that we were kind of like we really were looking forward to finding more of the BIPOC community to come in and work with us as also BIPOC members and artists. We were really looking forward to working more so with that too. So whenever we met like another BIPOC artist, I think we really appreciated that a little bit more, I feel like, because they're not, I mean, it's not few and far between at all. It's not like that. I think it's mostly about not wanting to be seen all the time as a BIPOC artist.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, with anything that comes with, you know, I mean, just being a minority on a daily basis can be difficult, but then, you know, add something in there like where you are putting yourself out there and showing people your soul, and then you're a minority.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult sometimes, and I can definitely see the almost systemic, you know, behavior from BIPOC artists, and that it is a little bit worrisome to be out there in a Eurocentric community, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So
a place to sell that where you don't have to feel that at every moment. Like you don't have to be constantly like accountable for everyone's immediate reaction.
Right. I mean, can you tell us right now which artists in here are BIPOC?
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
No, you can't.
That's
you
an
can't
excellent
tell me
point.
That. So we have, you're just buying from artists. That's who you're buying from. People.
Yeah.
So that's one important thing for me is just, it's not really anonymity, but it's putting everybody on the level playing ground.
Yeah, and there's not like photos of artists, or it's just the art speaks for itself.
Yeah,
one interesting thing you said a little bit ago too was like for some of those larger ticket pieces to sell, it really required that the buyer like develop a relationship, and I think it's pretty special that this place was able to do that for some people. And I guess the challenge to all artists is like finding ways to do that with your work, you know, to find ways to continue like showing, you know, if you're online, it's different. You've got to maybe like figure out how to bridge that gap for people, because it's unlikely that they're going to be like motivated to be your biggest fan just that first like glance. You know? Sometimes it requires a little bit more nurturing.
People automatically just want to see that wow factor piece of art that you have, even though it's not something that you love. You know, I have pieces of art that probably be like, oh wow, that's so cool, but it's like, I hate this thing. I don't care about this one.
And I think it's a little bit of a location thing too. Like I think about something like Manifest, where, you know, there's a lot of vendors there, but I think that the average person who, you know, walks into a vendor fair, they might think, you know, I'm going to, you know, spend like $100 or $40 or something. But for a big ticket item, like it's people, like how often do you go to something like that and think like, I'm looking for, you know, $1,000 piece of artwork to hang on my wall? Like that's a very difficult decision to make impulsively, and like in a busy room, like where there's all kind, like how I imagine, like, you know, the Riverfront Art Fair or Manifest or any of these other vending events where people come, you know, it is you have to like see the scarcity too.
Some of those are like the medium ones too, though. Like I wonder how is the G2 Art Summit Fair in the big conference hall. I wonder if that's a flip on that. Like I wonder if people show up expecting to spend a couple of grand.
Oh, the GSR thing?
GSR, yeah.
I do think that when people go to things that are framed as fine art, things like the Manifest and there was, you know, I'm not going to define anybody's art, but the art fair that happens out here, people are prepared to purchase artworks. So that's my perception. Cool. At every weekend at the hub, I don't know if they're really ready to buy a $1,000 painting, but when it's framed as this is a fine art fair, I think people do come ready to make an investment in a local artist.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. So is that a way you see for like these artists and potentially yourselves? Are you going to be like reinvesting in some of those art fair opportunities?
You know, that's fine for your path and stuff like that. And obviously I always find ways to support other artists, to give them commissions, to give them things that don't fit my brand. I always pass it on to other people.
Yeah.
And those opportunities never stop flowing for me. So it's kind of multi-channeled, that this channel is turning off, but the other channels still flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was vending for about 6 years before we opened this store. And I mean, I got around to a bunch of places, and at this point, like I get invites to like some like the biggest vending events in Minnesota, because they just like kind of want me to be at those events because I'm a good vendor, I guess, you know. It's like I dedicated a lot of time into vending, you know, putting together a great display and, you know, that charisma again, you know, bringing that charisma to my booth. And I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
I want to do that again. That was like fun and adventurous. And I got to go, you know, I got to drive a few hours away from home and spend the weekend in different towns and stuff like that. It was really fun. And
is there more in that direction that you guys have really learned about, like being successful artists, you know, like outside of the scope of the store and stuff, like both promoting your work online and becoming more well known for your craft? Like anything that maybe someone who currently has their work in the shop here, you know, and maybe it's their first time getting exposure to their work.
Gosh, I have a lot of things
you know,
to say
like
about that.
how could they move forward?
Stick to it. Just keep on doing it for, I mean, 10, 20 years sometimes. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that takes a really long time. Keep on working on your art. Just keep on doing it.
One thing I genuinely find for myself personally, go look for opportunities as an artist. And when you take those opportunities, do not half-ass it. Put absolutely everything you have. The opportunity is as good as you make it look, and leave that product, you know. So if you get something and the gallery isn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, you don't think anyone's going to come to it, make it something that people will come to, and you will find that your fan base will grow with that if you if you're passionate about it and you put it into it. Talk to a business that doesn't show art right now and say, I'm an artist, can I display some work in your business? They probably say yes, you know. You'll gain two people that didn't know about your art before that, you know. So get out there and do it, you know. Don't be nervous about it. What the worst they can do is say no, and then you're in the same place you are, but with a little bit more confidence about talking to people.
I think that go to a business, that's a great idea. I mean, go to an office building.
Oh yeah.
You know, go to a dentist place.
Need to refresh your artwork.
Local artists. There's so many places like that.
And the best way to do that is to build off the relationships that you already have currently. That's one thing that I found a lot of success as an artist is it's about building a relationship with somebody. If they're going to buy $1,000 piece of artwork from you, it's because they believe in you as an artist and they're investing in your future as an artist. So build relationships with people. Preferably ones if you're trying to sell $1,000.
And remember their names. You know what I mean? Remember those people. Talk to them, and you know, when you see them in public, you say hi. Because that's
show them respect.
That's how you
people that have
make your brand better. You kind of have to become a brand yourself. You know?
Absolutely,
you are a brand.
I like that a lot. It for me, that really represents the kind of like ignore the lottery thing and, you know, keep your nose down, because I think that there's something that's always hovering over anyone in the creative field right now, is that there's like always like the NFL draft odds that you could be selected to be moved from zero to amazing success. And the fact is it just does, like, that is so unlikely to happen. But like what will very likely happen if you do what was just said here and like keep your nose to the grindstone, develop personal relationships, take your art seriously, and do all of these things, is that you will find a fulfilling life practice that people respond well to. And like, I mean, at least to me, that's like what art is.
Yeah, and here's the kicker. You know, sometimes that doesn't work either. So sorry. Like sometimes that just doesn't pan out. But
yeah, I don't want to be ableist or anything like. I mean, some people might hit a ceiling where they don't have any form of capacity to do. You know, all those things that I described. But you can go and send an email to, let me think of some business right now off the top of my head. Mom and pops, there's nothing on their walls right now. If you send them a Facebook message and say, I am interested in displaying my work, they're one of the busiest businesses down here. Your work will gain, some form of exposure. If you got nothing but it's sitting there, do something, Yeah.
I think, like you said, not being afraid of no, and just like trying to do more things, like see what your product market fit is, see where you can figure out how to develop relationships, get new opportunities.
Yeah, that's on you.
Yeah,
It definitely is on you. You have to. You can't wait around for anybody to show you what to do, to show you where to get the opportunities. You can take somebody to the water, but if they don't know how to drink it, if you're trying to feed your family, you have to take accountability and do your own thing.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be an artist, you have to learn it by figuring out what your style is, and just practice constantly. Whatever your style is, you just have to develop it.
Yeah.
And tell people about it.
Yeah. Honestly, though, there are a lot of people out there that would just love it if somebody just did all their art for them and just painted everything for them and drew everything for them, and then all they would have to do is not even sell it for themselves. There's a lot of people out there that are not willing to put in the work. So many people. I've worked with a lot of them.
Want to be a successful artist, but really don't
want to put the work in. It's like, I don't know how you're ever going to succeed.
I do I know someone that works right over at Clark, and he hates all of that stuff so much that it gives him crippling anxiety. So he literally went on Fiverr and just started hiring people and firing them if they sucked. And now he has a team of 12 people, and he's honestly the highest paid artist I know personally, I guess, besides the guy that does those murals.
I think in your example, he does the art though, right? He
does,
all the
so
art himself,
all
and then
he does
is the execution.
So he does his art, and he literally cares so little about all that stuff that he doesn't even want to do it. And we're talking this guy works with Victoria's Secret models, and has galleries with tens of thousands of dollar paintings, just not in Mankato.
Huh.
Yeah. And some people have the luxury of that they're that skilled and talented that they don't have to be that full-time social media manager, back-end accountant, all those different things that most artists do have to be a full team of people. But some people get it, boss. You can do it, then do it. Yeah.
More power to you. I wish I had that.
A lot of those people you can hire work off commission. You only pay them a dinky little salary, but if they sell to a gallery, they get money based on what they sell. So it's actually a pretty symbiotic relationship if you find someone you can trust. He obviously went through just as many, if not more, people than he currently has hired finding duds, because he literally went to Fiverr, but now all he has to do is his art.
Yeah.
And he works at Clark just because otherwise he tells me that it's so he leaves his studio because otherwise he'll stay there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's cool to think about new ways of figuring out how to make your art sustainable too.
Yeah.
And for some artists, they might find that the act of pitching themselves to gallerists is makes their art unsustainable. But if they can have some help with that, they can focus on the part that's important to them and maintain a healthy relationship with their work. So I think there's probably a lot of new creative ways to approach challenges like that too.
I think people have a chip on their shoulder, they have to do it themselves. And I guess that's where my point is there are people that can help with this stuff, and there are resources, but it's really up to you to put in so much work that you will never see dividends for. Or if you do see him, it's going to be a decade from now.
Yeah, right. And one thing I just want to say a little bit though is we're talking a lot about the monetization of art, and I feel like we need to kind of almost reiterate that art is not just for money. Art is expression, passion, emotion. Art brings people peace.
Yeah.
I mean, it can do a lot of things to us, and I think that's what we should really focus on is the arts itself, not just the monetization of the arts, because that's just, you can't take it with you, right?
Yeah.
Who cares about money?
Well, if it was about money, none of us would be doing it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So it's about the passion. It's about your heart that you put into this work. And That's really what I think is the most important thing about it.
Absolutely.
Is your heart. And money aside, I mean, yeah, who doesn't want a bunch of money? I don't want to be broke. Duh.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, if it's between money and being happy, I'm definitely going to be happy every single day. I'd rather
me too.
I'd rather have my
Every
friends,
time.
family, art, whatever it is. I'd rather live on the streets than be miserable with money
Yep.
100% of the time. So,
Well, why don't we throw out some plugs if you want to give any thank yous to people who've helped contribute to the awesome spot that is 108 Alchemy.
Yeah.
Why don't you give it to them, let them know.
there's a few people that I think that we would definitely want to say.
I definitely want to give a blanket thank you to all the makers that we
Yeah.
had in the store. I've loved getting every single one of the products that we have here is a different person I have a relationship with now. And the customers that came back over and over and over again.
We
that were
have so many loyal
like,
customers.
I love this person. They're just a
Yeah,
wonderful
they're
person.
friends.
Yeah, they're
So
friends.
our customers have
They care
become
about our
friends.
well-being.
They do.
And it's just it's been wonderful to
Legitimate.
And we'll miss them, but we'll be around. You know, that's a big.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
That's some of them right there.
They don't care. They're just gonna. That happens a lot. It says closed on our door. But yeah, there's a few people specifically that I would like to thank. But at the same time, I don't want to make anybody not feel good about their art. You know what I mean? Because there's a few people that came in and helped us a lot with the shop.
That were like
We're always
teaching classes because
Yep.
they and wanted to be here. And that I mean,
supportive in
Yeah.
other ways with their time and instruction and their expertise, and that was really nice to have those people that wanted to teach other people here. That was really good. And I really hope that we get to work with those people again in that type of manner again. I really want to be able to do that, more of that. And I think we'll be able to find that again somewhere else. But but then also probably, our neighbors, honestly.
oh yeah,
Our neighbors were awesome.
Yeah.
Ginger from Bonita up front here. Gosh.
Great
she's the
spirit.
nicest lady
Yeah.
I have ever known.
Yeah.
She's like Ginger, and then my wife is like just right under Ginger.
The
love her
basement
so
neighbor, he's like a mushroom farmer.
Understory.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, we had some awesome people that were just
Jen at the coffee. It's been just a great community
Jen,
to be part
Ginger,
of. You know,
Jeremy.
and our other business is down the street, but to be in a retail is really different because that's a lot of what the community is down here. So to be in a commercial painting business is sort of, there's a little bit of a disconnect because we don't face the same problems that the retail stores have. But the community, once we started the retail store, has been so supportive of us.
yeah.
Can't say enough about our neighbors.
No, I can't either. They were awesome. Yeah. They really brought joy to being here a lot of the time too. They made it so that some days I'd just want to come in just to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just to go say hi to Ginger and have a 10-minute conversation about mushrooms in the basement with Jeremy. And, those were fun times. Talking smack with Jen over across the street. Those were good. Those were good times. And I don't think. I mean, we've had a relationship with like Jen for years now, and that just kind of made our relationship with her blossom, and the relationship with Ginger. I'm glad I met Ginger. She's a good friend now, I'd say.
Well, 108's been a big impact on the art scene, and I hope that it sends positive ripples.
We do too.
Even after it maybe changes its form a little
It's
bit.
going to change its form. We might have a funeral to celebrate.
I would love that so much.
Kick the body a little bit.
Maybe we should actually do that. I mean,
A little send off.
have a little We'll do a Viking burial. So.
Yes.
Start off the building.
Yeah, I think you can't. I think it would be. I guess I don't know exactly how I'm trying to say this, but I think that you can't talk about the Mankato art community, specifically, especially the Old Town community, without talking about the X. Just in general. I think you guys are a powerhouse of the community, but especially this area and the art community and the like event planning community around here. You guys are just absolute powerhouses. So
And I'm happy to be able to pour this energy back into like the Day of the Dead and stuff like that.
I'm not gonna lie. It feels good to hear that. We don't hear that enough. Like I hate to say it like that. We don't get a lot of.
Yeah. Well, it's earned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think if anyone who's paying attention should see that.
I appreciate that. Sometimes I get a little down on myself. You know, we do so much, and I'm just like, man, I don't know. Why do I keep doing this? You know what I mean? Like, but I know it's for the good. You know?
Yeah.
It's just how it goes sometimes, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we get to be a part of this. Like,
I'm glad to recognize our capacity.
Yeah, me
To
too.
recognize that
Yeah.
I'm not going to kill myself trying to do something that is doesn't serve my greatest
Yeah.
good.
That's a sign of growth. Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, heck yeah. Did you want to shout out either your personal social medias or anything like that for people to come find you at?
I'd like to shout out my gallery installation at the Grand in New Ulm.
Yes. Sick.
So I have a gallery installation. It's called Leap of Faith. It's based on my 100 frog painting challenge that I put on myself.
Yes.
I explored fiber installation. It's a pretty cool installation. If you're in New Ulm, great place to visit.
It opens this weekend.
It
right?
opens this Friday at
Yeah.
6:30.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm so happy to get to see my siblings like art, like my brother Justin and our other brother too. That when I get to go to places and see like, oh my gosh, that's my brother. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool to like.
Sick.
Awesome.
And I don't tell anybody. Like, I just look at it like, yeah, kinda keep quiet about it. But it's kind of fun.
It's always weird when you go to these galleries and it's like this person you talk to all the time and you like know they're good. But then when you get to see people that don't know your friends, only see them through the art, you almost like forget how good they are just because you're so close to them.
Yeah.
And like, even if you love the work, so you see someone react to it when when you just don't see through that lens and you're just like, oh yeah, my friend or brother or whoever is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And like, I take that for granted almost.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
I know for sure you both have artist significant others.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do too, Jacob, at all. Is she
Yeah.
also an artist? Yeah, so like you know what it's like to like be around a really good artist
Yeah.
and like see their work all the time and like you just become used to it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just see it all the time, so you're kind of
My partner is definitely immune to my
Right,
work.
yeah, exactly. So like, whenever I ask my wife, "Does this look good?" She's like, "Yeah, it's
fine.
good. Yeah, it's good." Oh, thanks. All right, cool. All right, I guess it's all right.
It's fun to see it through fresh lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, having people go see your families or your significant others work kind of like reinvigorates your love for their work.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we should wrap it there. We're sad to see the spot go, but we're excited to see what you guys are able to do with your.
I mean, we got a lot of
I'm sure you're
energy
not-
for other things
This
now.
isn't goodbye.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely not. We'll probably be on TF Cast again.
Yes,
Seems
it'll probably
likely.
happen.
This is my third time I think on TF Cast.
Yeah.
Never for the same thing.
Never. It has never been for the same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping it fresh.
Thanks
Am
for
I your
having
first
us.
three-timer?
Thank
I
you for
think
joining.
Dana has been on 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. Mhm.
Dang it, Dana.
Yeah. We could have a grudge match fight.
Oh,
I need to start doing cooler stuff then.
So, like a cage match between you and Dana.
I'm totally down for that.
She would. She
has to have a handicap though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
She
Dana
seems
legitimately
scrappy.
scares me. Yeah, I would never mess with her. Nope.
Swinging a pipe.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Thank you. Thank you.